Hello and welcome back to the Flying Scotsman FM channel, where today is the first in a brand new series, the Tactical Clinic, where I have asked you to send me in your tactics and we will simulate these with three sides across a season. Now you can either do this on Twitter, via email, you can get me on Discord, or even just message me and leave me a comment on YouTube. So today we have three teams that we're going to run with. We are running with Tottenham in the Premier League, predicted to finish 5th. We've got Plymouth Argyle in League One, who are predicted to finish in 7th place. And we're over to Spain with Hirona, who are predicted to finish down in 19th in the relegation spaces. So what we'll do now is we will take a look at the tactic, and here we are. It is the Panenka 4-2-2, which was sent over by Panenka over on Twitter. As I said, if you want to send me some in, please get me on Twitter, email, etc. So we'll just run through the tactic here. As by the name of the tactic, it is a 4-2-2 or a 4-4-2 or 4-2-4, however you want to say it. So it's a balanced mentality. While in possession, we are looking to pass into space, higher tempo, so we're looking for quick exchanges, trying to get the ball from back to front as quickly as we can. In the transition, we want the goalkeeper to throw it long, again, distributing quickly, counter-attacking. This is a lightning fast tactic. We're going to just bombard the opposition box as quickly as we can. And when we're out of possession, the defensive line is higher, we're playing with the high press, we're pressing much more often, we're preventing the short goalkeeper distribution, and we're getting stuck in. So it's a very in-your-face tactic, counter-attacking, balls to the wall, attacking constantly, just trying to score as many goals as possible. So I think that throughout this simulation, we're going to see all three teams score a lot of goals, a lot more than we would expect them to. But just in the nature of the tactic, I think we might see, especially Hirona, concede a lot more goals as they're going forward chasing that. So we will now fast forward one season and we'll review how each of these sides gets on. Here we are at the end of the season with Tottenham Hotspur. Having a look at the competitions, it looks like, you could say it looks like a mixed bag. We'll be knocked out in the Emirates FA Cup and the Carabao Cup at the semi-final and fourth round respectively, both times when Newcastle United. That must be gutting to take. It does look like they've managed to get through the groups of the UEFA Champions League. We'll take a look shortly and see how far they got in that competition. But in the league, it looks like they have overperformed and they have finished in 3rd place when expected to finish 5th. So let's just take a look at the full table. They've got 23 wins, 6 draws and 9 defeats, scoring a massive 91 goals and conceding 46. Now, I'm not surprised they scored that many goals with Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, players like that, Richarlison, Kulusevski. They will be scoring goals aplenty. But as we saw, when you have elite level defenders, I think you will concede a lot. They've conceded 46 goals in the 38 games here. Now just look at the squad, have a look and see who's got the goals, who's got the assists. Harry Kane, 40 goals in all competitions. Heung-min Son on 37, Richarlison on 14, Ivan Perisic on 8, Kulusevski on 7, and then from there you can just look down. Plenty of players getting involved in the action. Yves Bissouma even getting 5 goals, Bentancur with 3. Could be here all day listing off all the players that have scored. And then when you look at the assists column, Heung-min Son's got 14 assists, so overall 51 goal involvements for him. What a phenomenal season. Then you've also got Kulusevski, Richarlison, and even Yves Bissouma in double digits for assists. Overall, I think it's great attacking output across the squad here. Now, looking into the schedule, we can see they had an absolutely phenomenal start here, just blowing teams away, especially a 5-0 against Leicester here. Champions League, they beat Maccabi Haifa 4-0, Real Madrid 2-1, Dortmund 3-1 before losing the return leg 3-2. Beating Brentford 6-0 here, losing to Madrid 1-0, and then winning their last game of the group stage, Maccabi Haifa 5-0. So in the 2 games they did lose, they lost out just by the 1 goal, so it's not been as disastrous conceding goals-wise as I might have originally thought. Put out Doncaster in the EFL Cup 3rd round before losing to Newcastle in the 4th round, before losing to Newcastle again in the league. So I think that's across the 2 cups and in the league, that's 3 losses out of 4 games they'll play. And then if you look here, Spurs 7, Manchester City 2, with Kulusevski, Son, Richarlison, Perisic, Basuma and Moura all scoring. So 6 different goal scorers there. What a phenomenal result that was. They then beat West Ham 4-1, Bournemouth 4-0. They beat Barcelona 3-1 in the first leg of the Champions League last 16. Beat them 3-2, so they went through 6-3 on aggregate there. Brilliant. Lost 4-1 to Man City away, but then beat Man United 4-1 in the FA Cup quarter-finals. A 6-4 win against Newcastle here. So they have 3 losses and a win against Newcastle, but 10 goals in a Premier League game is phenomenal. They're in a wee bit of a bad patch here. Napoli putting them out of the Champions League and Newcastle putting them in the semi-final of the Cup before they went on a reasonable run for the last couple of games. So as you can see, Tottenham with a static finished third on 75 points, qualified for the Champions League, some really good individual performances, so it does look like this tactic's been a success for Tottenham Hotspur. Now we'll take a look at Plymouth Argyle. Across the 4 competitions, it does look like it has been a very, very good season indeed. First of all, we can see that they lost out in the Papa John's Trophy, finishing runners-up, before being knocked out in the 4th round of the Carabao Cup by Crystal Palace and the Emirates FA Cup quarter-finals by Newcastle United. So getting put out of both cups by Premier League opposition is no laughing matter. It's well done to the boys, and as you can see, looking at Sky Bet League One, this is where they shone. They have romped to the title here, and we can just have a look. 32 wins, 7 draws, 7 losses, 94 goals scored with 39 conceded, finishing on 103 points. What a phenomenal season for Plymouth Argyle. I'm sure they would love that in real life. They should, and I've always thought they should be in the Championship. I don't know why, I've always just thought I'd like to see them up in the Championship. Now we'll look at the squad. Goals spread around, not as much, not as many high numbers here, but you've got Niall Ennis on 32 goals, Ryan Hardy, a fellow Scotsman, on 26 goals, Danny Mayer on 13, and then a whole host of players with 6 goals and under, a couple of defenders chipping in with a few goals, and in the assist front there's 3 in the double digits with Joe Edwards, Niall Ennis and Danny Maynor all chipping in with some goals and assists. Great to see. Then we'll take a look at the schedule, just go straight back to the start of the season, and other than the loss to Fleetwood here, they were on a great run. They've went through, every time they've then lost a game, they've went on a run of winning 5 or 6, which is obviously how they have managed to romp away with the league here. You can see a lot of games are conceding 1 goal, but then there's lots of games that they're winning, 4-0 against Swindon in the FA Cup, 5-1 against Lincoln, 4-0 against Gateshead again in the FA Cup, 4-2 in the EFL Trophy against Wimbledon. You can just see a lot, most of the time that they concede, they're only conceding the 1 goal, which is good. A wee bit of a step back here with 3 draws within 4 games, but nothing disastrous. Before again, just going on a phenomenal run before losing to Peterborough. They actually put Blackburn out in the FA Cup 5th round, which is great, before losing 5-0 to Newcastle in the quarter-final. Newcastle are the bane of this simulation's life. 4 cups, and Newcastle have put our sides out in 3 of them. I'm not going to be happy with that, Newcastle fans, I do apologise. And then, as you can see here, the EFL Trophy lost 2-1 to Ipswich, unfortunate. After going 1-0 ahead through Morgan Whittaker, they then lost 2-1 to Ipswich before going on a phenomenal run where they only dropped points to Exeter. So that final run of 5 games just pushed them to the top of the table. And there we have it. Plymouth fans, a successful season is the sort of tactic you'd like to see for your club. Let me know, and let me know if you agree that you think that you should be in the Championship. I mean, I doubt anyone's going to say no, but you know what I mean. Do you think you'll get there this year or in the coming years? Just let me know. And finally, to our relegation candidates, Hirona over in Spain. As you can see, they've been knocked out in the Copa del Rey in the 3rd round by Real Sociedad. Again, nothing to be ashamed of, losing to a bigger top flight club. So we'll just concentrate on the league here, and they were due to finish 20th, and they have managed to finish in 15th place, 5 points above the relegation space, and a massive 18 points ahead of where they were expected to. So we'll just look at the full table here, and we can see they won 11 games, drew 5 while losing 22. And yeah, they scored a massive 61 goals while conceding 95. So minus 34 goal difference here. So we'll see how far up they finished in the goals. So it's that seventh highest amount of goals in the league. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal from them. Take a look and see their squad, see where the goals are coming from. Christian Stuani, who I believe was the former Middlesbrough player. I'll just check. Yes, it was. Stuani, who was at Middlesbrough with 23 goals and 4 assists. Rodrigo Riquelme on loan from Atletico, chipped in with 12 goals and 9 assists. Manu Vallejo, 11 goals, 9 assists. And the next man, double digits, Valentin Castellanos, who I think was from New York City. Yes, New York City FC. Looks like a decent wide player, a decent forward there. Might be one to keep your eye on in your saves. He's only 24 years old, season in. When we look at the assist numbers, Rodrigo Riquelme, Vallejo, and Jan Couto, the full back, with 8 assists for himself there, brilliant. And now we'll just go to the schedule. I'm expecting to see a lot more ups and downs here. So, started the season very well with 2 wins against Getafe and Cadiz before going on a bit of a losing run, conceding goals. Beat Osasuna, then lost to Celta Vigo, Real Sociedad before smashing Rayo Vallecano 5-0. Kelly with 2 goals, Stuani with 1, Vallejo and Ivan Martin. Again, even in most of the games that they're winning or drawing, they are conceding before a poor run here where they lost 8-0 to Barcelona and 7-3 to Real Madrid. So at home they are scoring goals. They scored 3 goals at home against Real Madrid. However, they did concede 7. 4-0 loss to Valencia. They beat Mallorca 4-1. Again, losing out 3-4 to Real Betis here. 4-0 loss, 5-2 loss, 4-1 loss, 5-4. Look, this section here is really where they could have been in the doghouse, in the dogfight going down, before picking up a win against Real Valladolid and finally drawing on the final day against Almeria. So there we have it. There is the Panenka 4-2-2. I would say that all 3 sides we tested this with, it was a success. So if you had better players in any of the sides, obviously you would get better results. And I think Hirona being able to stay up was a massive one out of them, especially when they were already going to be struggling to keep clean sheets. They conceded a lot more goals, but the attacking output massively helped them and managed to get them up into 15th place and to safety. So again, if you'd like to have your tactics reviewed in this way, please just get me on any of the channels that I have mentioned. Please leave a like on the video, comment down below how you think the tactic is, and a big massive thank you to Panenka for sending over this first tactic of the tactical clinic. And as always, if you enjoy the content, please subscribe. I am new to this, so I am always learning, and I'm just looking to get as much help as I can, and I do hope you enjoy it as we go. So until next time, thank you very much. Welcome back to the Flying Scotsman FM channel, and we are back today with another tactical clinic. This tactic was sent in to me by Helmut over on Reddit, and it is the Helmut 433. If you're wanting to have your tactic tested on the channel, please just either email me a copy of the tactic, as in the actual file, or even just send me screenshots of it. My email address is in the channel description, or you can always send me it over on Twitter. So today we'll just take a quick look at the tactic here. It's the 4-3-3. We've got a standard back 4, 2 wing backs, 2 ball-playing defenders, deep lying playmaker in the defensive midfield slot, 2 attacking Mazzalas with 2 inside forwards on attack and an advanced forward on attack. So as you can tell, it's a very, very attacking formation. I'm expecting to score a lot of goals and probably concede a lot of goals as well if these 5 are going to be constantly up and it's just the deep lying playmaker holding the position here. So we'll take a look. We can see it's a balanced mentality. We're playing it out from defence. We're playing at a higher tempo, working the ball into the box. We're also playing for set pieces, so depending on your team, if you've got tall strikers, tall defenders, playing for set pieces will be absolutely perfect for you if you are wanting to try this out. In the transition, we are counter pressing, so we'll constantly be pressing, going on the front foot, and we'll also be countering. Any time that we win possession back, we will just be bombing forward. And as you can see, we have the two wing backs will be bombing on, the two Mazzalos going forward, the inside forwards and the advanced forward all attacking, putting pressure on the opposition defence. We're also distributing to the deep line playmaker. We're taking short kicks from the goalkeeper. So the ball, as soon as we get it, will be given straight to the deep line playmaker, and he'll be looking to pass the ball in behind to any of the 5 players in front of him. Out of possession, it is a high pressing system, higher defensive line. We're pressing much more often. We're preventing the short goalkeeper distribution. We're staying on our feet. We're not lunging in with tackles. We're asking our defensive line to just step up that little bit more. So as you can see, it is a very, very high pressing system, and it will lead to a lot of goal scores, but as mentioned, I think it will lead to a lot of goals conceded. Here we are at the end of the season, at the end of the tactical trial. We can see here from the competition screen, Arsenal finished 4th in the Premier League. They were predicted 6th, so it is an improvement. We have managed to qualify for the Champions League. We've also won the Emirates FA Cup while losing out in the 3rd round to Lincoln City in the Carabao Cup. Now that is interesting because, as you've seen from the thumbnail, Lincoln City are the lower league team we are testing this with, so it will be interesting to see. It doesn't show us here how they got on in Europe, so we'll take a look at the schedule, just go right up to the top and have a look through some of their fixtures. So as we can see, a lot of wins here. We did lose out to Chelsea 3-2 in the Premier League and Tottenham in the North London Derby 4-1 in the first month of the season. However, from there, we went on a massive run here. In Europe, it looks like we had FC Midtjylland, Zurich and Hearts in the Europa League, so I'm going to assume that we have topped that group. Let's see, 3, 4, 5 and 6 wins in the group there. We've also lost out here to Liverpool and Man City, so far, other than beating Man United 5-1 here and a thumping win away at Old Trafford, it does look like we are struggling against the bigger and similar sized teams. Here, this is where we lost out to Lincoln, who are also playing the Helmut 4-3-3, so we'll take a look, see how Lincoln got on just in a couple of minutes. And we can see 6-0 win against Aldershot in the FA Cup. Hammered Watford 5-1 in the FA Cup. We went through a little bit of a bad patch here in February, losing to Leeds United, Manchester City and Chelsea before narrowly beating Brighton. We then battered Man United again 4-0 in the 5th round of the FA Cup. Europe, last 16 here in the Europa League, we drew 4 each with Inter away from home before winning 2-1 in the home leg, going through 6-5 in aggregate. Went through the quarterfinals of the FA Cup in extra time against Manchester City. Lovely win there. It looks like City have signed Rafael Leao, very good player that they have signed there, I'm assuming in January. Quarterfinals of the Europa League, we beat Fenerbahce 3-0 away in Turkey before a 2-2 draw at the Etihad. The Emirates rather. I'm losing my place here. Means that we go through 5-2 on aggregate through to the semi-finals. And then beat Chelsea out in the FA Cup semi-final on penalties before losing the last 2 games in April. And then just the last couple of wins here, definitely. Last couple of wins in May held on for 4th to qualify for the Champions League. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be in Europe as we drew 2 each with Feyenoord at home and then getting absolutely battered 5-1 away before we demolished Leicester in the FA Cup final. Gabby Jesus with 4 goals, Zinchenko with 1 and El Neni with another. We'll now just take a quick look at the squad, see how the goals were shared around, see how the tactic works. So Gabby Jesus scored 31 goals. Bukayo Saka got 16 goals along with 15 assists. Emile Smith-Rowe was a surprise inclusion here maybe with 16 goals and 7 assists. Martinelli with 14 goals. Xhaka with 10. Fabio Vieira with 10. Odegaard with 10. Odegaard also with 17 assists. As you can see, the goals are massively spread around this squad. look at the amount of players that have scored goals here. So overall, I would say a very successful season for Arsenal. Winners of the FA Cup, qualifying for the Champions League in 4th place, as well as getting to the semi-finals of the Europa League. Please let me know down below if, as an Arsenal fan, you think this is a good season. Ordinarily, not compared to this year, obviously, because you are top of the league, and it has been a long time coming for you to win that trophy. So let me know down below if prior to the season starting you would have taken this. Now we're taking a look at Lincoln City, where we can see on the right hand side here they have won the Papa John's trophy. So that's the first trophy in the bag for Lincoln City here. Quarter-final exit in the Carabao Cup to Manchester United. Getting to the last 8, no mean feat. Unfortunately, coming up against better Premier League opposition. Emirates FA Cup losing out in the 3rd round to Ipswich. And in Sky Bet League 1, it's not showing us here, it's just showing us that Bolton have won the playoffs. So let's just take a look at the table. Lincoln City, who were predicted to finish 14th when we started, finished in 4th place. So they've obviously went out in the playoffs. Who have they lost to? They've lost 6-5 to Bolton on aggregate. Unfortunate. But a very, very good season for Lincoln, finishing in 4th place, 10 places higher than expected. We'll take a look at the schedule again, just see if there's any outstanding results here. So in the EFL Trophy, or the Papa John's Trophy, they won in the Group E. They have won 3-1 against Doncaster. They beat Newcastle United under 21s, beat Barnsley on penalties, which meant they will have went through. You know, a good run here in the league without losing any games. However, in October they had 2 losses, a draw and a loss in a row, which is obviously started them a wee bit in the push for maybe getting top 3 in the league. FA Cup first round beat Truro. This is where they beat Arsenal in the EFL Cup. They won the second round of the Papa John's Trophy against Sheffield Wednesday 4-0. They then won in the 3rd round against the Man United under 21s, going and winning that on penalties. Here's the loss, the 4-1 loss to Ipswich in the FA Cup 3rd round, unfortunate. And then just a couple of days later, they have went and lost in the quarterfinals 4-0, with Man United coming and battering them there. Which, I mean, it is a Premier League opposition, so you can't really be too upset about that. They then beat Derby County 3-0 in the EFL Trophy quarterfinals, before beating Walsall 4-1 in the semi-final. And then you had another good run of victories here, 4-1 against Exeter, 5-1 against Sheffield Wednesday. They then beat Arsenal under 21s, 5-3 in the EFL Trophy to lift that competition, before unfortunately losing out in the playoff semi-final to get promoted to the Championship. Now taking a look at the squad, there's only really 3 players here that have managed to get a lot of goals. You've got Ben House and Tom Hopper, both with 28 goals, and Danny Mandrew with 13. So a lot less goals than we saw with the Arsenal squad, but that is maybe to be expected when you are playing with, you know, not the same calibre of players. So again, let me know down below if you're a Lincoln fan, or if you're not, even if you're not a Lincoln fan, let me know how you think Lincoln have done this season with the Helmut 4-3-3. Let me know if this is a successful season for them. And last but not least, we will take a look at FC Köln, who were predicted to finish 12th this season, and as we can see, they have finished in 11th place, so pretty much where they were expected to finish. Although they were only 5 points off finishing in the Europa Conference League places, so not too bad a season, I would say. Losing out in the DFB Pokal 3rd round against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Let's just take a look at the full league table, see how many goals they scored, how many they conceded, see what we can see. So they scored 49 goals but conceded 58, so minus 9 goal difference, finishing 43 points. Not too bad, finishing above some pretty big teams such as Gladbach themselves, Schalke. And we will take a quick run through. There will be less to see with FC Köln in the schedule list, but we'll take a look, see if there's any notable victories here. Good run of form here, September and October. Very good run of form before losing to Mainz 4-2. That stopped that. They're actually in the Europa Conference League. My apologies, I missed that before. It wasn't on the first page. So they've beaten Young Boys 3-0, drawn with Dnipro 1 each, beaten Slovan Bratislava 2-1 before beating them 3-0. Beat Dnipro again 2-1 before losing 5-1 to Young Boys, which means they will have qualified for the next round. For a second I thought they hadn't, but look at this. After the World Cup, they have had a shocking run. January and February, they have drawn 2 games and lost every other game, including some batterings, losing 7-0 to Bayern Munich and 4-1 to Stuttgart. Before, I didn't know this was possible, but they've played Young Boys in the knockout round straight away, winning 5-2 on aggregate, before losing out to Villarreal in the quarter-final. You know, Villarreal are a very good side, just too good for us on the day. Köln had a very good finish here, you know, not losing a game in the Bundesliga since mid to late March when they went on a run, which is obviously going to have propelled them up the table. I think let's just take a look, see if that is the case. Did they? Yeah, so they were sitting really high up first half of the season, and then, as we saw, coming back from the World Cup, they just plummeted down into 15th before slowly making their way back up to a solid mid-table finish. Now just look at the squad, just like we have with the other sides. Mark Ut, 17 goals. Sargis Adamyan with 10 goals. Linton Mina with 8. And then, much like Arsenal, a lot of the goals are spread around. A lot of 7s and 6s here. So overall, pretty much what FC Köln would have expected. Again, let me know if you think this is an acceptable season for them, if they've done better than they should have, or if they've done slightly worse. That's the end of this tactical clinic. Having a look at the Helmut 4-3-3. Let me know down below if it's a formation, if it's a tactic that you would use. Is it maybe a bit too offensive for you? Is there some things you would change? And let me know how you think this tactic would do with other sides. As always, if you liked the video, please leave it a like, give me a comment. It massively helps me as a creator. And if you do enjoy the content, please subscribe and turn notifications on, as we will have at least one episode of the Tactical Clinic out every single week, along with other experiments and another couple of ideas I've got. So this has been the Flying Scotsman FM, and thanks again for watching. And again, if you like this sort of stuff, please, please, please leave me any feedback at all. Thanks, and I'll see you next time. Hello and welcome back to the Flying Scotsman FM with another tactical clinic that has been sent in over on Reddit by Daryl. He sent over this 3-4-3 formation, and I will point out right away, this was a tactic that he made for FM22. He wanted me to try it out in this year's game. We'll just see how it works, but as we all know, you can't really just plug tactics in from other games. There will be slight tweaks that will mean that this will not work. But we're going to test it out anyway, see how it gets on. And today we are testing this with Chelsea in the Premier League, Portsmouth in League One, and Bologna over in Italy. Now, at the time of recording, just before we start the season, media predictions are 3rd for Chelsea, 6th for Portsmouth, and a 12th place finish for Bologna. So we'll get straight into the tactic here. As we said, it's a 3-4-3. We've got a sweeper keeper on defend, 2 ball-playing defenders either side of a central defender, 2 attacking wing-backs either side, 2 Carrilleros in the middle of the park, an inverted winger on attack on the right-hand side, and then a pressing forward and an advanced forward up top, both on attacking duties. The mentality of the tactic is positive. In possession, we are going to be slightly more direct, higher tempo. We're going to be overlapping on the left-hand side with the wing-back. The right wing-back is going to underlap, and we are going to be playing fairly wide. So it's a very wide, very fast countering tactic by the looks of it. We're going to roll it out to the fullbacks. We're going to counter. We're going to counter press. As I said, very countering. We're going to be right up in their face. Out of possession, we're going to go with a high press, higher defensive line. We're going to trigger that press more often, and we're going to prevent the short goalkeeper distribution. As well, we are going to stay on our feet. So there we are, the 3-4-3. Let's get straight into it and see how we get on with the 3 respective clubs. I'll be back in a minute. Here we are, back with the Flying Scotsman, who was the manager of Chelsea. As we can see here, he finished in 15th place, and as you can read below, this was at the time of departure. So it does look like he has unfortunately been sacked. How long did he last? 110 days he was the manager of Chelsea. So take a look here. Zinedine Zidane is the new manager. Take a look, see when he was sacked. The Flying Scotsman sacked on the 15th of October, unfortunately. So as we can see, Chelsea actually managed to finish in third place. So I'm assuming, yeah. So it looks like we lost 3-0 to Crystal Palace and got the punt. And then from there, they have just skyrocketed up into third place, which is a great achievement for them after I have been sacked. So we will scroll down, and here we are. Palace was the last game we were in charge of, so wasn't too bad a start. We beat Leeds, drew with Arsenal, beat Aston Villa, and then drew with Fulham before a 2-1 loss to Newcastle, and it looks like it just spiralled from there. Not winning a game up until beating Brentford 3-0, and then Ajax 2-1 in the Champions League. So new manager came in, or caretaker came in for the Liverpool game, and then straight from there, they beat Liverpool, beat Man City, and then they were off. They did lose themselves to Dortmund and drew with Marseille, so I'm going to assume, yeah, Chelsea finished bottom of the group. Their one win against Ajax. So unfortunately for the Flying Scotsman, the 3-4-3 Daryl tactic did not work in FM23. We will now go and take a look at the Portsmouth manager and see how he got on. Unfortunately, it does look like the Flying Scotsman over at Portsmouth was also sacked from his job at the time of departure in 12th place. So we will take a look again and see when they were lost their job. They were in charge for 194 days, so a bit longer than the Chelsea job. Take a look here and see the exact date that we were sacked. We were sacked on the 7th of January. Not a great new year for the Flying Scotsman. So the 7th of January would take us down to, it doesn't look too bad here. A lot of greens, a couple of reds in there, but the month of December, we were absolutely battered. Was that six losses in a row in the league, then drawing to Charlton in January before losing 6-1 in the FA Cup third round to Sheffield United, and that is where we lost our job. Now, if we take a look at the final table, where did they finish? Finished in 14th place, so here we are. Oh, look, we were up in third right up until the 10th of December, and then from there it just nosedived. And where were we sacked? We were sacked after that game there. Obviously, there was a cup game in between, but we were sacked when we were here. So again, unfortunately, the Flying Scotsman does not make the 3-4-3 work at Portsmouth in FM23. Now we will go ahead to our final club of this tactical clinic and see if we can get any pride, restore a bit of that, and see if Bologna can finish above or around where we would expect it to. We will go now and take a look. Here we are with the Bologna manager, the Flying Scotsman, and it looks like they have kept their job, finishing exactly where they were expected in 12th place. Take a closer look at the full league table and we will see that we've won 12 games, drawn 7 and lost 19, scoring a massive 61 goals. However, we did concede 81. How did we get on in the cup? Unfortunately, it was a third round exit to AS Roma in the Coppa Italia Fanta. Now, if we take a look at the overall schedule, we can see, again, got off to a reasonable start, just like in the other two jobs. Beat Como 6-1 in the first round of the cup. Beat Udinese, drew with Cremonese, drew with Spezia, probably two games we should be winning. And then, lost to Lazio, hammered by Inter Milan. We seem to be winning the games that we should be and drawing some of them, but the games that we're expected to lose, we are losing. January, a lot of red here, however. Napoli, Atalanta, Roma, Juventus, Milan, Are we expecting to get anything from them? Maybe sneak a result, but not too disheartened by that. Good wee run here. Win against Salernitana. A draw with Torino. A win against Udinese. And then again, just really, really patchy form. Winning 5-0 in the last game of the season. And because we have finished the season, we can actually take a look at the squad and the squad statistics. I didn't do that with Chelsea or Portsmouth because they would obviously be skewed as we were sacked in October and in January. As you can see here, Arnautovic scoring 22 goals. Very, very good season indeed. Musa Barrow with 12 for himself. And then from there, Xerxes with 9. Orsolini with 6. And then it just filters down. A couple of goals here and there from people. Orsolini also managed to get 10 assists. He's obviously been playing out on that right-hand side. Let's just check. Yep, Orsolini's been playing on the right-hand side. Musa Barrow and Jowara is the most recent front two. Obviously, Arnautovic has played up there somewhere. And there we have it. That is the end of this experiment. The Daryl 3-4-3 from FM22, simulated in 23. You know, two negatives with Chelsea and Portsmouth, and then, as expected, with Bologna. So if you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like, leave a comment, and as always, please subscribe. It massively helps me and it helps the channel. And if you'd like your tactic to be simulated, please, as mentioned previously, either send me an email. The email address is on the channel description, or contact me on Twitter, or if you can find me on Reddit, although I don't use it very often, please find me on there. This has been the Flying Scotsman FM, and I will see you next time. Good afternoon, and we are back with another tactical clinic, back a bit earlier than expected because I have brought something much more interesting for a lot of you. A lot of you will have heard of Knapp and his tactics. A lot of you will have played with these tactics, and today I'm going to show you the Beowulf 4-2-4 with the 2 inside forwards and 2 segundo volantes. I spoke to Knapp earlier this week and he is letting me run this simulation for YouTube, and I will link the tactic and all of his tactics in the description below. If you have never seen them and you are interested, you can get them all down there. So this tactic is a very attacking tactic. As you can see, playing with the sweeper keeper, 2 wing backs, 2 ball playing defenders, 2 segundo volantes as advised, then the 2 inside forwards on attack duty and the 2 advanced forwards on attack duty. So this front 4 should just collectively score so many goals and set up each other so well. So it's a balanced mentality to start. We're going with the short passing it into space, low crosses into the box while running at the defence. So the 2 inside forwards will constantly be running in behind to play alongside the 2 strikers. We're going to work the ball into the box. Play's going to be focused down both sides. We're going to overlap down both sides, and the tempo is very, very high. So a very, very fast-paced attacking tactic, which is the way Knapp likes to play a lot of his tactics. So when in transition, we're going to counter press. We're going to counter. We're going to have the goalkeeper distribute it to the fullbacks to get the ball up the pitch as quickly as possible. Out of possession, as expected, we're going with a high press, standard defensive line. We're going to prevent the short goalkeeper distribution, and we are going to trigger that press much more often. So for today's tactic, we are testing it with Liverpool, who are predicted to finish second in the Premier League. We are also testing it with Aberdeen up in Scotland, who are predicted to finish in 5th place behind the Old Firm and the 2 Edinburgh clubs. And lastly, we are testing it with Oxford United in League One, who are expected to finish in 10th place. So we're going to simulate this for all 3 teams and see how well this tactic does for us. So I'm going to fast forward just now and we will get to the results. See you in a couple of minutes. Here we are at the end of the season with Oxford United, and just taking a quick glance, you can see it has been a very successful season indeed. Picking up the Papa John's trophy, I think it was Tottenham under 21s, yes it was, that they beat in the final 2-0. They lost out in the Carabao Cup first round to Ipswich, which is a bit disappointing to lose out in the Cup to a divisional rival. Emirates FA Cup, we have been knocked out by AFC Bournemouth in the 5th round. Now, we look at Sky Bet League One and things have gone much better than expected for them. So as you can see, across the season they've won 35 games, drawing 7 and only losing 4, finishing on 112 points
with a 74 goal difference. So if we just take a look at the full table, we can see that this tactic has led Oxford to score a massive 113 goals in 46 games, which is absolutely phenomenal for a team like Oxford. Take a look at the squad, see where the goals are coming from. So Kyle Joseph, who's in on loan, young Scottish boy, I like to see that, obviously. 27 goals and 5 assists. Matty Taylor with 21 goals, 4 assists. Josh Murphy, one of the wide men with 17 goals and 11 assists, and Billy Bodden, the other wide man with 16 goals and 17 assists. So as you can see there, the two forwards both scoring 20 plus goals, and then the two inside forwards both in the high teens for goals, and then between them getting 20 assists as well. You can see as well, just the amount of goals scored has been spread so much between the squad. How many players have we got here that have scored for us this season? Let's take a look. And we can see 19 players have scored for us this season. That is absolutely phenomenal to see. So we will take a look and see if there's been any absolute massive results. Plymouth 7-1 and Portsmouth 6-1. Coincidentally, that's the two League One teams that we have tested this with in previous experiments. And then we've also got 6-0 against Forest, 5-2 against Charlton, 4-3 against Wednesday. A lot of, just look at the amount of goals. So if we put it back in order, we'll kind of see the form we were in. So as you can see, started off League One phenomenally. Didn't lose a game until 10th of September. And then from there, we just went on an absolute tear. From September, not losing another game until we lost at the start of March in the FA Cup, but not losing another league game until late on in March. So as you can see, this tactic has just done absolutely phenomenally for Oxford United. And Oxford will be playing in the Championship next season. So now we'll just go and we'll take a look and see how Aberdeen have got on up in Scotland. See if they've been able to qualify for Europe again and see if they have been able to best the old firm as well. We'll just go and check that out now. Here we are with Aberdeen. As we can see, they were runners-up in the Premier Sports Cup. Very unlucky. Let's see, they've lost 2-1 to Celtic there. Going 2-0 down before Duke or Duck scoring in the 78th. Very unfortunate. You can see here, they didn't have the possession, but they definitely had more shots in the game. Maybe a bit unlucky to lose that one. When we look at the Scottish Cup, they've been put out the semi-finals by Celtic again. And then because the Scottish Premiership has a relegation playoff, that's why the league table's covered. So it's giving you a bit of suspense to see what happens. We can see here Celtic have won the league, but how have Aberdeen got on? Aberdeen have finished in second place, 78 points, 3 ahead of Rangers. And that means they have qualified for the Champions League this season, because Scotland now gets 2 teams in the Champions League again. So Aberdeen have beaten Rangers to that second spot. You can see they were a long way off Celtic, but Celtic are just a juggernaut of a team, especially the last 10 years. They have just been dominating Scottish football. But to finish second ahead of Rangers and then to finish 20 points clear of Hearts in fourth, and then finishing 28 points ahead of 5th place Hibs, so 28 points clear of where they should have finished or were predicted to finish this season. Again, we'll take a look at the squad. We can see here Bojan Miovski with 35 goals in all competitions, Duke or Duck, as mentioned earlier, with 21 goals, Christian Ramirez with 20, and Vicente Bejuin, sorry if I've butchered that name, with 10 goals. He managed to get 17 assists to be the top provider of the team. And again, just like at Oxford, look at the amount of players that have got in and scored goals or have assisted goals. So now we'll take a look and see how Liverpool have got on. Have they won the Premier League? Have they won the Champions League? We will take a look and find out right now. So here we are with Liverpool. As you can see, Liverpool have finished second in the Premier League with a massive 96 points. Unfortunately, Man City just the better team with 105. And as you can see, Manchester City also beat us to the Champions League by knocking us out in the quarter-finals. In the Emirates FA Cup, we have won and we have exacted some revenge, and we have battered Manchester City 7-1. Luis Diaz with a goal, Mo Salah with a hat-trick, and Diogo Jota with another hat-trick. An absolutely phenomenal performance in the final, especially when you look here. 37% possession and we won 7-1. Now, we also lost out in the Carabao Cup, losing in the fourth round to Chelsea, as well as winning the Community Shield by beating Man City 2-1. And in that game, we were unable to see the fixtures, unfortunately. But there you go. So we beat Man City in 2 cup finals, and they have went on and knocked us out of the Champions League and won the Premier League. Let's take a look and see how the squad have got on. Mo Salah with 42 goals and 19 assists, so by far the top goal scorer, and I think he's also the top assister as well. Yep, he is. Only beating Luis Diaz with 18 assists there. As you can see, we have 4 players with 20 or more goals. Diaz, Firmino, Nunez and Salah all scoring 20 plus goals. Even Diogo Jota, who was a bit part player this season, scored 16. Much like Oxford and Aberdeen, look at the amount of players that are scoring goals here. Again, we will just take a look, just like at Oxford, see how many players actually scored for us this season. Taking out the 2 loan men, 17 players it'll be. 17 players have scored for us this season. Absolutely phenomenal. Any other high assists? So Sal with 19, Diaz with 18, Thiago with 15, Alexander-Arnold with 12, Nunez 11, Fabinho 11, and Andy Robertson, like to see it as a fellow Scotsman, with 10 assists. So here we are again. That is the Nap Beowulf tactic. 2 inside forwards and 2 segundo volantes. If you think this tactic's been a success, I think the results are fairly obvious it has been. Please let me know down in the description. Please like the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And as I mentioned at the start of the video, I will leave a link down below to the tactics for Nap if you've never seen them before and want to see a bit more. Again, this has been the Flying Scotsman FM. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back again next week with another tactical clinic.
Hello and welcome back to another tactical clinic. Today we are looking at the Viking 442, which was sent in on Reddit by Viking Hammer. Now, I have always loved the 442. I don't know if it's because when growing up, 442 was the main formation that I saw, but throughout Football Manager, I usually try and implement a 442. So we'll get stuck right into the tactic. So it's a positive mentality. In possession, we're going to be playing fairly wide, playing down both the left and right hand side. The passing is going to be slightly more direct and at a higher tempo, with hitting early crosses into the box. So it's a very wing focused tactic, getting the ball out to the flanks as quickly as possible for them to ping it into the box. And because, as you can see, we're testing this with Haaland should score a bucket load from crosses into the box. So in the transition, we're going to regroup, so we're not going to be pressing constantly, but we will be countering. Again, with the direct passing, the early crossing, and the high tempo, we will be countering at pace, and this should work really well. Goalkeeper's going to distribute it quickly and take long kicks, so again, just kicking the ball long, getting it up to the front as quickly as possible. Now, out of possession, although we are not counter-pressing, we are using a high press and a standard line of engagement. We're going to trigger that press slightly more often, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and we're going to ask the defensive line to step up more. So for this tactic test, we are using Manchester City, who of course are expected to finish first in the Premier League. We're also testing this out with AFC Wimbledon, who are predicted to finish 5th in League 2, and Nice in Ligue 1, who are predicted to finish in 6th place. So what we'll do now is we will just fast forward to the end of the season and just see how each of these clubs gets on with the Viking 442. We are back at the end of the season on the 30th of June 2023, and as you can see, the Flying Scotsman has been sacked, having used the Viking 442. So we'll take a look here, and unfortunately it looks like all 3 of them have been sacked. So I'm not actually sure which one this is. We will take a look at their job history, see who it is. So this is the one, the Man City Flying Scotsman. So we will just take a look, see when they were sacked. So they were sacked on the 29th of May, so they got to the end of the season, so we can take a look at the full schedule, see how they got on. Move back to last season. So it started off fairly well, a convincing 5-1 win in the FA Community Shield, which I think when we saw it there was the only trophy won by the Flying Scotsman. Then beat Newcastle 7-2, beat Bournemouth 5-1, beat Arsenal 4-2, 3-3 draw with Palace and a 5-0 win at Brentford before losing the first game 4-1 to Man United. So it doesn't look like it was a terrible start, so we'll just kind of scroll down and see where it all goes wrong. So after the Man United defeat, you can see Champions League group we had Monaco, Dortmund and Atletico Madrid. Very, very tough group. But it does look like we might have scraped through. We'll take a look at that in a wee second. So overall, it is a bit patchy. Knocked out in the EFL Cup quarter-finals and penalties by Leeds. Then went on another decent run here before losing 4-0 to Arsenal. Yet we did get through the Champions League group stages, beating Porto 7-1 in the first leg before losing 3-0 away in Portugal for the second leg. Then knocked out Liverpool in the FA Cup quarter-finals. And then this is where we got knocked out of the Champions League. We lost 5-4 on aggregate to AC Milan. That is a hard one to take. We got our own back on Leeds United, beating them 1-0 in the FA Cup semi-final. So if we scroll down, how did they do in the FA Cup semi-final? They won 1-0, however, this was on the 3rd of June, so this was a couple of days after we were sacked. So we were sacked after losing 3-1 to Brentford on the final day. However, where did we finish? We finished second. So the Flying Scotsman won the FA Community Shield, got to the FA Cup final but was not allowed to play that, and finished second to Liverpool in the Premier League only on goal difference. However, I just think just winning the Community Shield is what has done them there. We've came back a little bit too late, so we can't see the stats on this one, but we can take a look at the award winners and that'll kind of give us some sort of indication. So Golden Glove, not there, so defensively not great. Footballer of the Year, Haaland scored 27 goals, got 12 assists and 33 Premier League appearances. Great season for him. Goal this season, he didn't get any of these. Players Player of the Year, again, Erling Haaland. Whoops, clicked off that incorrectly. Players Team of the Year, only Haaland is in the Team of the Year. Isak up front alongside him, and then 8 Liverpool players in the middle of the park. Young Player of the Year, Erling Haaland, and he will be top goal scorer, I'm assuming. No, he wasn't. He was not. He was second to Alexander Isak, who got an amazing 32 goals and 34 appearances. So there we have it. The Flying Scotsman at Manchester City has been sacked with just one trophy in the bag. We'll now go and take a look and see how the others got on and see which Flying Scotsman. This is AFC Wimbledon, sacked with the team in 20th place. That is not great at all. So the Flying Scotsman was sacked on the 29th of October. That is horrific. So let's just scroll up to the top and see how it got on. So again, a reasonable start, picking up 3 wins in the league in a row before losing to Mansfield. They put out Ipswich in the first round of the Cup, they put out Colchester, and then again it fell apart. It completely fell apart from September onwards, so he was sacked at the end of October. So yeah, look at this. From the 3rd of September, they were just getting battered, including a 7-2 loss to the West Ham under-21s. And then from the new manager coming in, results did improve, as you can see. And I wonder where the new manager actually had them finish. Let's take a look. The new manager managed to take them up to 8th place, so I will not see it as the season beginning. But yeah, the manager that came in took them up to 8th place, so probably a good switch there. And last but not least, we will take a look at the Nice manager, see when they were sacked. They were sacked, doesn't tell you what position he was sacked in, so I'm assuming that he made it to the end of the season. They do not have a manager, so that indicates to me that they have made to the end of the season. The 3rd of June, so they did. They made it to the end of the season, so it must have been pretty disastrous at the end of the season. Look at the amount of friendlies they played though. Let's jump down. Look at the amount of friendlies they've played here. Getting absolutely battered in friendlies before then going on a reasonable run where they were undefeated until the 18th of September. They lost at Angers. So they got to the Europa Conference League group stages, perfect. Some notable victories here, beating Marseille in the league, beating Lille, beating Monaco, really good. And then here it kind of falls off a wee bit. I think the back-to-back losses, including 2 losses to Hearts, that's pretty poor, I will be honest, as a Scotsman. No disrespect to Hearts, but that is a pretty poor doubleheader against Hearts. Again, results are a bit of a mixed bag here. So let's just look at the Europa Conference League. So a draw, a win, a loss, draw. Might not be enough to go through. We'll see shortly. So put through to the 10th round at least of the Coupe de France. 11th round, again another wee poor run here. Quarterfinals of the Coupe de France put Le Havre. Before in the semi-finals putting Saint Etienne out 2-1. So we have made it to the Coupe de France final. Now, it looks like, because he was sacked in the 3rd of June, it looks like he's actually got the chance to play the cup final, unlike the Manchester City job. Then beat Paris Saint-Germain 4-3 here. Delort with a double, Thuram and Talby with the goals in a 4-3 victory. However, a couple of weeks later, in the cup final, PSG battered us 5-0. So, nope, he did not get to complete that. However, he did get to finish the season as he was sacked after the final whistle, I'm assuming, of the Lyon game. So take a look at the league table, and he finished in 10th place, which is not great. But look how tight that is. 3 points off 4th, and only, 7 points off Champions League football. That's actually not too bad. However, I think just because it did end up being 10th place, that's why they were down there. So, any awards? Andy Delort, Best African Player of the Season. As you can see, 24 goals in 38 appearances. That's not too bad for a team finishing down in 10th. Best Player, Kylian Mbappe, no surprise there. Leo Messi, Foreign Player. We're not going to get Manager of the Season. Most assists, Budoy. Apologies if I've pronounced that wrong. 13 assists across the season. Very, very good. Most Promising Player, Toulouse Player. Referee of the Season, never seen that. Revelation of the Season, another Toulouse player. Stars Team of the Season, so I'm just assuming Team of the Season. PSG players plus Golovin. That's it. And top goal scorer, looks like Delort just missed out on being in the top 3 there. And I don't know what the difference. I don't know who votes for which. Who votes for the 11 of the season? Who votes for the Stars Team of the Season? But unfortunately, there you have it. The Viking 4-4-2 has led to 3 managerial sackings across the season. 2 of them did get to the end of the season. However, overall, it does not look like this has been a successful tactic for Football Manager 23. Apologies to the member of Reddit who sent it in. However, if this works for you, that's the main thing. As long as you have a tactic that works for yourself and works in your game, that's all that matters. If you've enjoyed this content, please, as always, leave a like, leave a comment, and please, if you haven't already, please subscribe, as we will be ramping up the content over the next couple of weeks and months. Thank you very much for watching. This has been the Flying Scotsman FM, and I will see you next time. Hello and welcome back to the Flying Scotsman FM channel with another tactical clinic. Today we have taken a tactic that was sent over on Twitter by FM Jono. So what we'll do first is we will run through the 3 teams that we have simulated this with, show you the results, and then at the end of the video we will get right into the tactic itself. So with this, we start off with Bradford, who were predicted to finish in 6th place in Sky Bet League 2. However, as you can see here, not great success in the cups, but they don't really matter, to be honest, as you can see they have dominated, well, maybe not quite dominated, but they have finished top of the league, 1 point ahead of Leyton Orient, and then we'll go straight into the table, and this is where it'll get interesting. So as you can see, Bradford City with a record of 31 wins, 8 draws, 7 losses, finishing on 101 points, just ahead of Leyton Orient, who finished on 100 points. Now, if you look here, on the final day of the season, Bradford have beaten Leyton Orient 2-1. So what this means is, if we take a look at past positions, Bradford's win on the final day of the season will leapfrog them above Orient to win the league. Absolutely phenomenal. What a final day of the season that is, with winner takes all, essentially. Now go into the data hub and just take a look and see exactly how this has performed. So just over 2 goals per game, much higher than the league average, and just under 1 conceded per game, which is always something I like to see. Pass completion rate of around 80%, again higher than the majority of the league. Totaling just over 13.5 shots per game, very, very good. Expected goals against per game is roughly the same as conceded per game, so that's pretty much spot on. And non-penalty expected goals 1.47, so we're massively outperforming that. If we then look at the team performance, we will take a quick look. I should have had this set up at the XG table for this season. So we'll display it in the team analytics, and as you can see here, expected goals 76.5, we scored 99. Expected points 81, we massively overachieved there with 101. And expected points position second, we've actually went on and finished first. Take a quick look at the squad, see some of the stats here. So Andy Cook, 22 goals, 1 assist. Jamie Walker, Scotsman, like to see it as you would imagine, 20 goals and 11 assists. Goals not really spread out as much as I would have thought. A lot of players in the single digits, but I think if we look there, Andy Cook on 22. If we go to here, yeah, Daryl Costello scored 24. He was on loan from Burnley, but he's away back now. So in total, he scored 26 goals and got 7 assists for us. We will take a look through the schedule, see if anything massive jumps out. We actually got off to a pretty average start. So we beat Doncaster 5-0 on the opening day before 3 back-to-back draws in the league. We'll go on a nice wee winning run. And as you can see, there's a lot of patches here. It looks like in the start of December we had a bit of a bad spell, losing to Orient there. We actually drew with them in the FA Cup first round. Then they beat us in the replay. Then they beat us in the league. But then, as we all know, as we saw earlier, we beat them in the last day of the season, which is what mattered most to take the title for Bradford. So there we have it. This tactic from FM Jono has seen Bradford win the league. So now we will go and take a look at the second team we've tested this, which was Liverpool, who were expected to finish second in the Premier League. So here we are with Liverpool. As you can see, runners-up in the FA Community Shield, runners-up in the Carabao Cup, knocked out in the 5th round of the FA Cup by Nottingham Forest, a 3rd place finish in the league, quite a bit off the top 2, especially Man City, so 3rd is a bit of a disappointment. However, as you can see here, they have won the Champions League 3-0 against Real Madrid. Goals from Konate, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Darwin Núñez in the 93rd minute to win the game comfortably 3-0. Again, we'll take a look at the data hub, just see exactly where things are going. So again, goals just over 2.08. Non-expected penalty goals 2.29, so we've actually underperformed on our expected goals this season. Pass completion ratio of 85.6%, shots per game just under the 17 mark, which is really, really good. Expected goals against per game is 1.35, with goals conceded 1.03. So we are doing better in terms of the amount of goals we're actually conceding compared to what was expected of us. Now, I am a bit nervous about looking to see the XG table to see if we have underperformed overall. So with the team analytics, expected goals 91.9, actual 79, so we have underperformed on expected goals in the league with this tactic for Liverpool. Expected points, pretty much bang on. I mean, I think it's a bit unfortunate that that's in red. I mean, it's 71.3 rounded, that would be 71, so we're bang on there. And expected possession, we finished exactly where we should have done. Now again, look at the squad. Darwin Núñez, 59 goals, 2 assists. Mo Salah, 16 goals and 14 assists. And then Just a lot of players on the single digits. Gakpo in 8, Kanate with 7, Diego Jota with 6 goals despite only starting 1 game. And as you can see here, Alexander-Arnold, with 32 assists across the season. That's absolutely phenomenal. As you can see here, when I quick picked this just after looking at the tactic after the season, he has been playing the midfield right position, which we'll get onto in a wee minute. So again, take a wee look at the schedule, see how we got on, see kind of where it fell apart. So lost 2-0 to Manchester City in the Community Shield. Went a nice wee winning run, lost to Man City in the Premier League. Looks like we had Bayern Munich, Celtic and Sporting in our Champions League group. So a loss here, a win, a draw, a win, a loss and a draw. So it looks like we have pretty much just scraped through, it might seem like. Yeah, so we just scraped through 1 point ahead of Celtic. But as you saw, we went on to win the whole thing. And we had a bit of a bad run here in October, like getting beat off at Tottenham, getting hammered off at Celtic, up at Celtic Park. Always a tough place to go. Went on a good rerun here, lost to Man United, drew with Villa, lost to Leicester, lost to Man U again, lost to us. We're just losing far too many. We're dropping far too many easy points as well. Lost to Palace there. Champions League, I actually meant to have so here we go, last 16. We drew 1 each with Napoli at home before winning 2-0 away. In amongst that time, we lost 2-1 to Spurs in the EFL Cup final. 2 relatively late goals from Harry Kane put them through, despite the fact they've been 10 men from early doors. Nottingham Forest put us out 2-1 after extra time in the Cup before we absolutely battered them 4-0 in the league just a couple of days later. A 1-0 loss to Bournemouth. Not great. Champions League next stage, so we won the first leg of the quarterfinals 4-1. Kanate, Diaz, Firmino and James Milner scoring the goals before losing 5-3 away from home. We go through 8-6 on aggregate. Lost to Spurs, lost to City here. Beat Milan 4-3 away, drew 1 each at home, put us through into the Champions League final. And as you see, we had a good finish to the season here. 4-1 win against Arsenal, 3-1 against Leeds, 2-1 against Brentford, and then as we saw, we won the Champions League. So overall, mixed season, would you say? I mean, we won the Champions League, we finished third, got 2 runners-up medals, so take of that what you will. Liverpool fans, would you be happy with the season? Finishing well off the pace in the league, but you did win the Champions League. Let me know down below. And now onto our final team of this tactical clinic. Here we have it. The final team of this tactical clinic was Red Bull Leipzig, or RB Leipzig as they are known. An absolutely phenomenal season, as you can see from them. Started off the season as runner-up of the DFL Super Cup, as well as winning the DFB Pokal and winning the Bundesliga. Absolutely phenomenal. As you can see, 1 point ahead of Bayern Munich. We'll just take a look and see exactly how things transpired here. So, yeah, we'll look at the final couple of games of the season. That was the playoffs. So, look at the last, say, 3 game weeks. So, game week 3, we lost to Werder Bremen. That Bayern beat the Schalke 4-0. And then going into this, we beat Bayern Munich 1-0 in the second last game of the season, which will have just put us ahead, I would imagine. And then the final game of the season, Bayern Munich were held to a 1-1 draw with FC Köln, and we smashed Schalke 5-1. So, how did we get on throughout the season? Let's take a look. We went top on the final day of the season as we beat Schalke and Bayern dropped points. We won the league, so we were not top of the table at any point throughout the season, which is amazing to see. Absolutely amazing to see. We will now, again, as always, take a look at the data hub, see exactly how we've got on. Goals per game, 2.38, which is above what we were expected to get, which is always great to see. 15 shots per game, and we're conceding just under what we were expected, which is just over 1 goal, which is phenomenal. Next, take a look at the team performance, take a look at the XG. So we scored 10 more goals than we were expected to. We get 13 more points than expected, which is phenomenal, and we finished 1 position above where our expected points had us. Absolutely phenomenal results. So top scorer of the season is our returning Timo Werner with 31. Christian Nkunku scored 19. Andre Silva with 19. Sorloth wasn't with us. Danny Olmo with 15, but also look at that, 26 assists from Danny Olmo. And then just a splattering of players with goals chipping in. You know, Schläger, who, when I did this, finished, he was playing in defensive midfield, scored 4 goals, but 14 assists. In the assist numbers we have, was that 6 players with more than 10 assists? So Nkunku, oh, you've done this, I cannot pronounce names. Shobsalai, sorry, 11 assists. Forsberg 11, Schläger 14, Timo Werner with 14, and Danny Olmo with 26. So again, we'll look at the schedule, just have a quick run through that, and then we can see exactly how we got on. So lost 2-1, DFL Super Cup to Bayern, went ahead 1-0, but went 2-1 down in the end. Very good start here. Let's just check it. Look, Champions League lost 3-1 to Man City, beat Olympiacos, drew with our feeder club, you know, in the same connection, the Red Bull family. Drew with them both legs. Maybe a bit of match fixing going on there, who knows. Olympiacos beat them 5-4 before losing to Man City 2-0, so let's have a look. Yeah, so went through that group on 8 points. Red Bull Salzburg on 8 points. I feel like that could be fixing, in my opinion. So after the World Cup break, we started with a 3-2 win against Bayern. So we beat them twice in the Bundesliga, which is absolutely phenomenal. Love to see it. Keep going down. Great win against Stuttgart 5-1. Beat Bournemouth, Dortmund rather, 1-0. Champions League we lost 3-1 to Milan and then 4-2. So we were absolutely battered in the last 16, unfortunately. The DFB Pokal quarterfinals we put out Heidenheim 3-1, then semi-final put out Gladbach 1-0 before beating Schalke 2-1 in extra time. Very late goals. Andrew Silva in the 87th minute before Danny Latza equalised in the 92nd, and then Kevin Campbell scored the winner in extra time. So we have it. That's the Red Bull Leipzig, RB Leipzig results. Runner up in the Super Cup, and then the double in Germany. Phenomenal. Now, last but not least, on to the tactic. So this is the Danny Boy tactic, as it was named. I can't remember why. I think it was after a player called Danny, I'm assuming, in the first experiments from FM Jono. So as we can see, sweeper keeper on support, back four, full back on support, full back on defend, 2 ball playing defenders both on covering duties, deep lying playmaker on support, just offset to the right, centre mid and attack, just offset to the left, winger and attack on the right hand side, attacking midfielder, just offset to the right, third winger on attack, and an advanced forward on attack. And when you look through, both full-backs, the deep lying playmaker already has it set, centre mid on attack, the winger, and then the 2 advanced midfielders all have shoot less often on, whereas the advanced forward has shoot more often on. So basically, it looks like they're just funneling everything down to Timo Werner in this team. So it's a positive mentality, you know, shorter passing into space, playing it from defence, hitting the early crosses, running at defence, being more expressive, focusing play down both flanks, overlapping both flanks, higher tempo, fairly narrow. In the transition, the goalkeeper is going to throw it long, distributing it out to the fullbacks either side, going to counter and counter press. Out of possession, it is a higher defensive line, high press, pressing much more often, preventing the short goalkeeper distribution and trapping outside in the press. So we have a very, very, very attack-minded tactic, and I would say it has worked. FM Jono has created an absolute blinder here. Bradford winning the league, Liverpool winning the Champions League, and then Red Bull Leipzig winning the double. Now, this tactic was originally created before the winter patch. However, this tactic has been tested on the winter patch, and these are the results. So it still works in the winter patch, FM Jono. If you've not tried it out yourself, no need to worry if it doesn't. But that's this tactical clinic over and out. If you've enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe as always. If you are wanting your tactic tested in the channel, please either leave me a comment and I'll get in contact with you on YouTube, or you can always
email me or catch me on Twitter. Both of those are in the channel description. And until next time, see you later.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Tactical Clinic, where we take a user's tactics sent in on Reddit to test with 3 clubs in the game. Today we're testing out the Skanderbegs Sword with Mick Sokoli. As you can see, the first club we have tried this with is Celtic, and wee spoiler here on the right hand side, we won the domestic treble. So we'll take a look at every trophy, see how exactly we got on. Premier Sports Cup, in the final we beat Rangers 3-2. Goals from Matt O'Reilly and 2 from Furuhashi, winning the Premier Sports Cup, which is the equivalent of the Carabao Cup, very, very easily. Now, take a look at the Scottish Cup. We were also the winners here, 3-0 against Rangers again. Take a look, here we go. Maida, Callum McGregor and Furuhashi with 3 goals. Callum McGregor getting sent off in the 53rd minute at 2-0 up. Rangers must have felt they had a chance to come back, however Furuhashi scored pretty much straight away. Then we'll go back to the competition tab. Champions League, unfortunately we were pretty poor, finishing bottom of the group. As you can see, we had Milan, Atletico Madrid and Dortmund in our group, so not too bad. The 2 results we got points in were a 1-1 draw away in Germany against Dortmund and a home draw against Atletico Madrid. Now the main thing we want to see is the Cinch Premiership, where, as you can see, we have won the league quite comfortably. 5 points clear of Rangers, and then, as always in Scotland, 29 points clear of 3rd placed Hearts. Take a look at the full table and we'll just get a quick look at the goals scored. 110, 19 of which against Livingston, who finished down in 9th. And if you know anything about the Scottish Premier League, the bottom half teams will only play 3 times, so we scored 19 against Livingston and 14 against Kilmarnock in 3 games. And we've only conceded 22 goals as well, which means not only are we scoring a ton of goals, this is also a watertight defence. Now we'll take a look at the squad itself. You see Furuhashi here played 50 games, coming off the bench once, scoring 51 goals from an XG of 38, as well as assisting 8. So absolutely phenomenal season from him. He only got 11 player of the matches though, which is quite surprising, considering he scored 51 goals that season. Next up we had David Turnbull, centre midfielder with 22 goals, Leela Bad with 16, Jota with 14, who's away to Saudi Arabia in real life, Maida from Japan with 13, and then as you can see, goals spread out here. In terms of assists, we had Aaron Moy with 24, Leela Bada with 21, great season overall from him, 21 assists, 16 goals. Jota 15 assists, David Turnbull 13, and the captain Callum McGregor with 10. Lastly, with Celtic, we'll take a look at the data hub. We can see non-penalty expected goals of 2.24, which led to us scoring 2.89 goals per game. So we're scoring more goals than expected, which is always what you want to see, and we are pushing towards that 3 goals per game. Expected goals against 0.58, which is the exact same as conceded per game, so doing exactly as expected in terms of the defence there. And then looking here, 91.6 expected goals in the league, 110 scored, 88.8 points expected, we get 91, so just overperformed in points, and expected position first, actual position first, not surprising. So domestic treble with Celtic, we'll now just skip right ahead and get straight to the next team. Next up we have Manchester City, who, as we can see, had a reasonable season, not as good as in real life just gone by, but still. 2-1 victory over Liverpool in the Community Shield. Fixture unavailable to view, but we'll look at it here. Goals from Haaland and Phil Foden, both coming after a Mo Salah penalty in the 16th minute. Unfortunately knocked out in the 4th round of the Carabao Cup by Tottenham, knocked out in the 5th round of the FA Cup by Liverpool, and a semi-final exit in the Champions League to Real Madrid. The final's not yet been, but unfortunately we lost to Madrid on penalties there, so very, very close to making it through to the Champions League final on that occasion. And as you can see in the league, we have won. So we've won the league by 11 points, scoring 112 goals, including 11 against Newcastle. That's easily, as you can see, easily the best goal scoring record in the division. Goals against 34, which is just slightly more than Liverpool. Let's take a look. We conceded 5 to Crystal Palace, which is pretty poor to be honest, but it doesn't matter. We've won the league by 11 points quite convincingly there. And as you can see, after beating Forest 5-0 back at the end of August, we were just top the whole way through, which is what you like to see. So, quote-unquote double, not really including the Community Shield, but it is a double of sorts. And looking at the squad, take a look at the goals. Erling Haaland, 73 goals across the season, 54 starts, 73 goals from the next year of 66, 11 assists there. As you can see, the man's just an absolute machine. He's an absolute beast. If you can't win the league with Erling Haaland in your team, you shouldn't really be playing Football Manager, unfortunately. And if you manage anyone else in the Premier League, you need to try and stop him, which, it's easier said than done. The rest of the goals in the squad spread really, really well. Only 4 players played that didn't actually score, 2 of which being the goalkeepers, so, expected. 17 from De Bruyne, 14 from Bernardo Silva, 10 from Jack Grealish. Assists-wise across the squad, 19 from Bernardo Silva, 15 from De Bruyne, 13 assists from Calvin Phillips. That's really, really good. And then Grealish and Haaland both on 11. Again, as always, we'll take a look at the data hub. You can see non-penalty expected goals 2.41, goals per game 2.95, expected goals against 0.8, and we actually conceded 0.89, so slightly worse than expected. And again, as always, expected goals 97, actual goals in the league 112. We outperformed expected points by 13 and exactly on position there. We'll just take a look here. So we actually conceded 3 more. We conceded 3 more goals than expected. So still a great overall season in terms of Champions League semi-final, 2 domestic cups I'm not really bothered about, and then nobody cares about the Community Shield, but winning the league easily with Haaland's going 53 in the league, and then Champions League semi-final knockout and penalties to Madrid is a bit gutting, but I would say a successful season. Now lastly, we'll take a quick look at the other team in this experiment, which is Cardiff. Here we are with Cardiff, and as you can see, it has been a successful season when you ignore the Carabao Cup first round exit to Luton Town, third round exit the FA Cup to Chelsea, but coming up against Chelsea in the third round, unfortunately, it's kind of expected. But the Sky Bet Championship is where we see the best of us. Managed to finish in 4th place in the league, going back to the league table. 4th place in the league, 25 wins, 10 draws, 11 losses, scoring 67, which was, where are we, about the 5th best goal scoring record, but then defensively only conceding 35, which is really good, only conceding 1 more than champions Norwich. That got us into 4th place, which meant we were in the playoffs. Taking a look at the semi-finals, it was the all-Welsh derby in the playoffs, managed to beat Swansea 2-0, winning 2-0 at home before a 0-0 draw in Swansea meant we progressed to the final, and in the final we beat West Brom 1-0 in extra time. Isaac Davies scoring in the 101st minute of extra time to put Cardiff into the Premier League. Now, taking a look at the squad, our top goal scorer was Sori Kaba, 21 goals from an expected goals of 21, so bang on the money. Assists wise 4, and unfortunately for them, he's only on loan. He's on loan from Michelin. Do they have a chance to sign him? No. Anyway, we'll not be continuing this, so it doesn't really matter. And going back to the squad page, 12 goals and a lot of single figures. So where is Isaac Davies? There he is. Isaac Davies never started a championship game for Cardiff. The Welshman, 21-year-old Welshman, came off the bench 20 times and did not score or assist a single goal until the playoff final. So his only goal came in the final, the biggest game of the season, and he managed to score. So I think he will be demanding a new contract, £1,200 a week. You're going to the Premier League, Davies, and he must be ready to demand a bigger contract based on that. Data hub for Cardiff might not be as impressive, but we'll still take a look. Non-penalty expected goals 1.19, goals per game we got 1.43, expected goals against 0.86, we only conceded 0.71. So how did that fare in terms of where we were expected? So 6.1 more goals in the league than expected, Another 8 points expected, and we're expected to finish 5th, but we managed to finish 4th, so very, very good. Now lastly, we'll just take a look at the tactic itself here and go through a quick run through of the Skanderbegs Sword. So as you can see, it's a 4-2-3-1, sweeper keeper on attack, 2 fullbacks both on defend, 2 ball playing defenders both defend, defensive midfielder on defend, segundo volante on attack, 2 inside forwards both on support, a shadow striker in behind the advanced forward. And as you can see, as I've clicked through it, there are no personal instructions for any of them, so you can just put them in as the default roles and you'll get these results hopefully. Looking at the actual tactical style, it's gegenpress, mentality is balanced. In possession, we're going to play out of defence, passing into space at a higher tempo. In the transition, we're going to get our goalkeepers to take short kicks, short passes out to the centre backs, and we're going to counter and counter press. And then lastly, out of possession, we're playing a higher defensive line, we're playing the high press, pressing much more often, preventing the short goalkeeper distribution, and we're asking our defensive line to step up that little bit more. So you have it. That is the Skanderbegs Sword tactic set in by Mick Sokoli over on Reddit. As you can see, some great results. City winning the league quite comfortably, Champions League semi-final. Celtic winning a domestic double with Furuhashi getting 51 goals, and Cardiff, who were predicted to finish 14th in the Championship, finishing 4th and then managing to win the playoffs and get back to the Premier League. This has been another tactical clinic. If you want yours tested on the channel, please just let me know. Put a comment down below and we can get in touch, get that done for you. And also, as always, please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. It massively helps me out as a creator as I try and improve week on week, video on video. So until next time, catch you later.